Hello everyone, and welcome to my back deck. I have a little project today. I want to try and build an alcohol stove. I've been watching a ton of videos on it, and I found one where they use the bottom of a pop can, or in this case, a beer can. You need two of them, and you got to cut the bottom off of both and then build your stove. So I don't exactly have a workstation. I do, however, have a cutting board that I can put on my lap and work from there. We need to cut the bottom part off of both cans, and we want it about 1.5 inches high, roughly. Well, I have a piece of 2x2 here, which is 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. So I'm just going to take my marker spin the can around, and there's my line. Now I know I have to cut both, so I may as well just mark both right away. So now that our can is marked, we need to cut this section out. Well, hopefully this bend is going to be able to, I'll be able to straighten that out. Still make it work. The video I watched, he did all this with a similar knife, never putting a wrinkle in the can. I don't know how he did that. Now I've got a file here. Let's see if I can pop that back into place. There we go. Now I'm just going to file these edges. We need about 16 holes. So I'm going to put one dot there and a dot across here. Then I'll go in the center of that. So that's 8 holes. So now we'll just put one in the center, roughly. Between all of them. Now he just used a push pin, but with the way this can is denting in, I don't know. Oh, there we go. There's one. Okay, so hopefully all the dents in this can aren't going to make much of a difference. So now I'm going to try and stay above my line and just chop through the can. And using a pair of scissors, I'm going to try and cut my way down to that line. There. Now that's about as straight as I'm going to get it. Now I need to cut the bottom off of the second can. And I need to save this top piece. Now I'm gonna do the same thing, take my time, go around and try and cut down to the line. Trying to keep this as straight as I possibly can. I need to measure from the bottom in here up to the height and leave just a little bit extra. So that to me looks like 1.5 inches ought to do it. So now I take the top part that I had cut off, mark that at 1.5 inches. Set that aside for now. And out of this leftover piece, I gotta cut a couple of shims. So now, put this in here, making sure it sits right in the bottom of the can. Then we have to take our marker and mark where the end of the can is. That is right about there. Now, we find the center of those two lines. So that's 2 1/4, so 1 1/8. We'll say it's right there. Then we find the center. Oh, that's not going to work. I had to go and rewatch the video, see how exactly he did this. So what I've done is I marked off the end where they meet when they're inside the can. Then I came back about a 1/2 inch and I marked going up. And on the inside, I came back a 1/2 inch and I marked going down. Now, if I find the halfway mark, which in this case should be just about 3/4 inch. Now, when I cut to the halfway mark, this one coming from this side, this one going the other way, now I should be able to slide the 2 pieces together, and that'll hold it in a perfect ring. And that'll fit right in there, just like so. Now I need to cut 3 notches . That should allow for the alcohol to seep through and get to the vents. Now we set that in the bottom. Oh, we have to flare this out. They say to use a full can. I'm hoping an open one will work. It's still full. But it's just to flare it out just a little bit to help it so that the other part fits. Now we put this back, seated in the bottom where it should be. We start in our top part. And then we take these shims that we had cut and kind of try and stick them in here. Just to get the can started. Of course it's not going to want to cooperate. Alright, I'm going to get a full can and see if I can expand this a little more. Maybe that'll help. So now I went and got an unopened can. I'm going to try and gently flare this out just a little bit. There, hopefully that's enough. I don't want to push too hard, I don't want to split the can. Now we'll see if we can get this close. And insert a few of these shims. Okay, the shims aren't working. Let's see if we can just spin this and come on, you gotta work. Insert shim. Have the wind take away the shim. Insert the shim again. Alright, I think I'm going to stop playing with those shims because they just keep falling in. Set the shims aside. See if I can maybe just twist this and there. We did it. Looks a little funky, but it's done. Now I'm just going to take my file and try and fold over these little edges a little more. So here's our stove, all built up. And I took a third can and I cut just the bottom piece out. Once I put the alcohol in here and light it, apparently if I put this on the top, it'll help force the flames through the jets. We'll have to give it a try. But that's all I'm doing for today. Tomorrow morning, we're going to go out into the woods and we're going to go and try this thing. Hopefully it works. I've been curious about buying one, but I decided before buying one, why not make one? Doesn't cost me anything. And if I see it's something that I'm going to like and something that I'm going to use, then I'll buy one. If I decide I don't really like it, well then I won't buy one. And all I'm out is a couple of empty beer cans. So I'm going to put all this mess away. And we'll see you guys in the morning when I take it out and try it. So where's the best place to try out an alcohol stove? Sandy beach near the river. Anything happens, the sand isn't going to catch fire. So let me get ready and we're going to test out this stove. So I brought out my Mastiff Gears cook pot. It's a 750 ml pot. But inside the pot, the stove fits perfectly. That little cover that I had made, and a book of matches. Now the video I saw where he made this stove is dialed in DIY. He's got a ton of videos on making all kinds of different stoves, so he's been doing it for quite a while. This is my first one. Probably explains why I was having a hard time denting the cans. But we're going to test it out and see how well it works. So one of the things they say you can burn in this is methyl hydrate. Yes, I know it says poison, but I'm not planning on drinking it. Just using it to burn and to cook with is fine. Now I'm just going to pour a little bit in there. And I brought out a book of matches. Now the flame may be hard to see in the sun. But I can hear it. And I can definitely feel the heat building. It's 11:37. Let's see how long that's going to burn for. Try putting my pack there to see if you can see the flames a little better. But I still can't see them, but I can hear them. And there's definitely some heat going on there. Burning so clean you can't see the flames. But they're there. The whole reason I'm playing with this alcohol stove is for when I go camping, when I get up in the morning and make my coffee, It's hard to enjoy that peaceful morning with the sound of that stove going, the gas stove. It's definitely a loud, annoying sound. This burns whisper quiet, you barely hear it. And apparently, so far from what I've been reading, if you buy the actual Trangia stove, and there's a couple of others that are similar that have a simmer ring that also acts as an extinguisher. I haven't checked with the Ministry of Natural Resources yet, but everything I'm reading online is saying that even during a fire ban, that you're allowed to use because you can throw the lid on and put it out. So it would just give me one more cooking option when we're during a fire ban instead of using the bulky gas stove. So I'm testing it out with this one. If this seems to work well and it's something that I'd be interested in, then I may buy one of the other stoves. But I love how quiet it is. I'm just waiting to see how long it'll burn on the little bit that I put in there. I didn't bring anything out to measure it. I have no idea how much I put in, I just eyeballed it. But it wasn't very much. Now, I can hear it just a little bit sputtering, and I still feel some heat. But the cup inside is dry. So I'm going to give it a few minutes and let it cool down. I do not want to add fuel to that while it's hot. Too much risk of not being able to see the flame and causing a fire that I don't want. But it's been burning on the little bit that I put in there for 12 minutes. And it's just sputtering out now, so that is not bad. The stove is definitely out now. The can is pretty much cool to the touch. Now, normally, with one of these stoves, you have to make some kind of a pot stand. I've seen some take just a small block of wood and put a few screws in it and then drop the stove in the center and rest your pot. I've seen people grab rocks and pile rocks around it to have something to set on your pot. Usually when I go out, I always have in my pack my Lexada stove or another one. Now, when I bought this stove, it had this plate that goes at the top of it, and this should be the right size for the Trangia stove to sit in and be at the perfect height for cooking. I checked, the can goes right through it. But I'm going to put this together anyway. This grate is just a bit bigger than this grate, so I have to put this in the bottom. And then by putting in the upper one, Here's where I was hoping that the can would fit and stay up, because then by using my cross supports, I've got something to put the pot on. Now, I looked at it last night, and if I put the can inside the stove, my pot fits perfectly over the top, so I'll still get the heat. So I'm going to put some water in this pot. Put the cover on it. I'm going to refill the stove. Place it directly over the top. And relight it. If my matches wouldn't break. The broken ones back in the box, I can use those at another time. You still can't see the flame, but there's definitely some heat. I'm going to try and drop this over the top and direct more flames to the pot. Now it's 12 o'clock. Let's see how long it takes to boil that. So it's taken about 10 minutes to get a good rolling boil, which isn't bad. I just might enjoy doing this. But people are showing up and wanting to use the beach. So I think I'm just going to end this here and get out of the way a little bit so that they can enjoy their fun too. I want to thank you all for coming along. It's always a pleasure having you with us. And if you liked what you saw, go ahead and hit the like button. If you want to see more of it, hit the subscribe button. And if you're going to do that, you may as well hit the notification bell. It'll let you know whenever we put out a new video. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.